Alrighty. Oh, we're back. What I want to talk about today is your photographic style, or basically your style of image, the way you make things look essentially with your images. I know it's a pretty hot topic in the photography world, but it's for good reason. Because I mean, ultimately, photography it's art, and we all perceive it differently. We all have a different style, and we all think different things look good or don't look good. So I think when it comes to finding your photographic style, it really comes down to what you're trying to achieve with your photography. In my situation, I always knew that I wanted to go into the commercial photography realm, shooting for brands and businesses and companies and basically going where the money is. So I knew that my style always had to be clean, crisp, vibrant, the type of photography or the type of images that sort of that commercial world uses or wants. So I kind of grew my style and catered my style to grow into that sort of field, knowing that that's where I wanted to go eventually. And I'll tell you a quick story about some of my inspiration, and I'll get into the inspiration versus copying thing later. But for me personally, early on in my career, I was shooting snowboarding, a lot of snowboarding and skiing and snow sports. And at the time, this is going back 10 plus years now. At the time, that industry was kind of like a lot of them, where you have a lot of different styles and different approaches to the way you make your images look. And actually, this image right here is by the guy who I took a lot of inspiration from in those early days. His name's Vernon Dick, and he's a legendary snowboard photographer who worked in the industry for years and now actually is on YouTube making sailing videos. He sails all around the world, goes on all sorts of adventures. But back in those days, he was sort of at the top of the industry, and his style stood out to me because he shot it like commercial imagery, or at the time, a lot of people were doing weird things with color and different tones and all these funky looks. It was just that era, and I didn't like that at all. I gravitated towards that more clean, crisp, commercial style of work, and that's where I took a lot of inspiration from his work. And again, we'll talk about this after, but I took inspiration from it. I took inspiration to go in that direction, knowing that if I could get my work to look a certain way, it would lead to work in the industries that I was pursuing eventually. So I've just got to do a quick shout out to Vernon Dick, because he did a lot for my career in inspiring me to initially... Oh, fucking light went off. This probably won't look as good. I just opened the curtain next to me because my light battery went flat and I don't have any more charged ones. But what I was saying is I've got to give a lot of props to Vernon Dick for what he sort of inspired me to do and the direction he inspired me to take with my photography. And I've told him that he gave me a lot of inspiration in those early years. And yeah, I sort of tried to mold my way of shooting snow sports around the style of where I wanted to go in the future into the commercial world, and sort of successfully did that as well. So I think, key things to think about when you're sort of in those early stages and trying to find your style and how to make your work stand out as your own is to think about where you want to go in the future. Obviously, in the wedding industry, there's a lot of different styles and tones and, the sepia look and the different colors, the way people edit their images. And it's all just personal preference. Like I said, it's art. Photography is art. So it's the way that you perceive it and see it is the way that you want your images to look. So in those early stages, when you are looking to make it into a career, you've kind of got to look where you're going to go, what industry you want to shoot in, to mold your style to then fit in with that niche later on. So the other thing that I kind of wanted to have a quick chat about was, these days with the Instagram generation of photography, there's a lot of rinse and repeating happening, or I guess what you'd call copying. And that's where I wanted to sort of break up the whole inspiration versus copying argument, because there is a lot of that happens. Like for instance, I took inspiration from Vernon's work and his style and sort of blended that into the way I did things, in my way, but I never directly looked to copy anybody's work, which again, it's art. You should never be looking to recreate anybody else's work. And that's a lot of what I see now with like the Instagram generation of photographers is they see someone's image and it looks good on social media. They literally go out to try and recreate that exact image and that look. And that is just not how photography or art in general works. Like, yes, seeing an image and the way they shoot it and going, oh, that's, I like what they did there. And then sort of trying to find a way to create it differently and make it your own. That's more what I would encourage, because there's just so much copying and rinse and repeating of styles and literally the exact images. You can go on there and search a hashtag and there was hundreds of the exact same image. So I encourage people, obviously, if you want to grow as a photographer and create your own style that stands out so people know your work from other people's, that's where you've got to sort of define the way your images look and the way you shoot, whether it's the angles you shoot, just the way you edit things, the colors, how you tone things. It's all part of your individual style that defines your work, basically. So if you're sifting through Instagram or any photo sharing platform and you're literally trying to copy other people's work, that's not an authentic way to create images or be a photographer in general. You're literally just trying to be someone else. It's a unique individual art form where you have to spend the time to find your own way of doing things or your own sort of look or whatever, however you want to word it. I just think there's so much copying going on now that it's really just taking the art aspect out of photography and it's not doing it any favors. So like I said, if you've got someone you look up to, obviously you can take inspiration from their work and the way they do things, but then use that to sort of find your own unique style and do things the way that your brain kind of wants to portray the world rather than just copying what someone else is doing. So just a quick video, and to wrap it up, if you're in those early stages, you're trying to find your style and mold your style, it does come naturally over time. You just keep shooting, you keep tweaking things, you keep refining your editing, you get things really dialed in to the way you like the look of things. And again, depends on what you're trying to achieve with your work and what niche you're trying to work in as to how you should sort of make your images look. But you've just got to chip away at it, and eventually, once you find your style, you fine tune it, and people know you for a certain look of image, and it all just grows from there. So yeah, take this advice, do what you want with it. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers.